We can move on to defense here, and a couple of comments on the press coverage the Titans are going to be running this year. Let me start with just talking about DBs in general. Caleb Farley had a chance to speak with him today. The media did for the first time in a while. He's out there more on the practice field than we've seen him in a long time. He's dealt with a lot of adversity, from multiple injuries and setbacks to tragically losing his father in the house fire that happened last year. He's been through a ton, and he was just exuding gratefulness, gratuity to everything that he has been through, and was constantly thanking God for getting him through a lot of really tough things. He said to us, I don't know if you guys really understand, like, I didn't know if I was going to play football again. And so he is back out here playing football. He seems to be very happy to be doing so. Whether or not he turns into something is yet to be seen, but impossible not to be happy for him. And it seems like he's trending in the right direction to get on the field, at least for the first time in a long time. So that is awesome. Now, one more guy. You want to talk about a rookie of the week situation? Gabe Jeudy-Lally. He's been brought up on a couple occasions, and for good reason, by various folks on different shows in this media market. Rookie, undrafted, out of Tennessee. Some epic pandering here by the Titans, taking a Vols DB who, frankly, was not awesome in college, and that entire Vols defense, secondary, not awesome in college. And yet, Gabe Jeudy-Lally, to his credit, and I've DM'd him a little bit on Twitter. Seems like a nice guy. Seems like a guy that's driven. He's looked really good out there, man. And he didn't play a lot. Stoney was talking about this on Twitter. Did not play a ton of press coverage in college. Now is adapting really well and really quickly to doing that. And part of that is because you've got a couple of guys out there not doing everything. You know, you don't have L'Jarius out there doing everything this week, and so he's been in there doing a lot in lieu of some other guys not out there, and looking impressive in the process. He's got the physical requirements to be a dude. So you just, you got to see if he can work it out between the ears, if he can figure it out in this scheme. But so far things are really positive. And if I had to guess today, I think like he may make the team. He may be your cornerback 5 or 6. And that's really, really cool for a guy that, DM'd me out of the blue when they were doing the local pro day for the Titans pre-draft. And he's like, hey, I had a great day today talking. I spoke on the side with Chris Harris, and I spoke on the side with Rand Carthon and Brian Callahan. And they really seemed to appreciate like what I was doing out there. And, he's like, can you give me some pub on that? And I'm like, I'm happy to do that, man. Let's amplify this story, hoping the best for you. And then he becomes a Titan, and now he's impressing at Titans minicamp as a UDFA. Very cool story. Hoping to continue to see a lot of cool things from him in the summer later on. Now, as for press coverage, Dennard Wilson yesterday at the podium, first thing, gave some really fantastic comments on just how much the Titans are going to be pressing, just how effective he thinks they can be with the room of cornerbacks, the DBs that they have at their disposal. They have obviously tailored this group. They brought in Chito Uzie. They've brought in L'Jarius Sneed. They have Roger McCreary on the roster. They go and they draft Jarvis Brownlee Jr., an absolute dog despite his physical shortcomings, the kind of guy that wants to jam you on the line of scrimmage. It has been a mentality of, how about we just never let an opposing receiver ever get off the line of scrimmage? What if that's how he played football? Which is a fun way to play football and a decent idea, and that's the way they built this room. He went on and on for a couple different questions yesterday, and I wish I had these clips, but I don't. Talking about how I think pressing is important. That's going to be kind of our default. It's going to be very different from, and Titans fans, how many times in the last 4, 5, 6, 7 plus years have you seen on a 3rd and 2 in enemy territory, Titans DB on the X receiver, it's 3rd and 2, and he's playing 8 yards off the guy, and oh, look, there's an easy first down, turn and catch, basically falls forward for an uncontested first down. And then you pull your hair out and you're bald now because the Titans are frustrating you. I don't think that's going to be the case this year. And so at least in that regard, that is a very good thing. And maybe they get beat over the top a handful more times. Maybe there's some individual glaring losses by guys on some occasion when they're going up against some really good cornerback, very good receivers. That is the nature of the beast. That is the trade-off. That's the boom bust potential when you play more press coverage. But the league is trending in this direction. We are seeing more press in general. The Titans, the past couple of years, I'm working on getting my hands on the actual rates. I'm going to probably have them by our next episode. But we know, just watching them, they have been near the bottom of the league the past couple of years in their press man coverage. They have to have been. And when they do it, they have not done it super effectively. I think that's going to change this year. And we've got some clips from Chido Awuzie, just asking him today about playing press, the comfortability, the excitement. Here are a couple of clips from him on what he had to say there.
Ever since I've been in the league, it's been press coverage. So maybe it's not something new for me. And I know it's not something new for the corners in our room. We're excited for the challenge, and that's what we train, doing all offseason is press coverage, doing our cuts from press coverage. So, yeah, we're excited to be able to match up against some of these guys this year.
Does it take a certain kind of group to be able to pull that off effectively at a high rate?
Oh, for sure, at a high rate. But I'd be it's the NFL. I'm pretty sure every corner in the NFL can press.
Right.
But certain corners can probably press consistently or have a better technique, and that's something that we're working on every day to be one of those guys.
Something new.
Well, I'm not going to say that we're not.
No, keep playing. Let's play all these real quick.
Going to play off. I'm not going to say we're not going to only play press. That's scheme stuff that I'm not the one making the calls. Obviously, I'm going to be playing the calls that's given to us, and certain looks may tell us that we have to press, and certain looks may tell us we have to be off. But no matter what, we're going to be aggressive. That's the only thing we're going to be is aggressive. No matter if we're off, if we're in zone, if we're in man. So, we're not going to spill all the stuff that we're going to do this year. But Dennard. So again, it's my first year, so I don't know if that's going to be the case. Even though he said it, who knows what's going to happen? So I don't want to get into like any game plan thing or anything. Maybe like the week of a game,
How's that change? Okay, pause it there. Now, as Kenneth says in the comments, a little scarring. I can see some mental scarring here. He says, I don't need I need to, see it on the field before I believe another coordinator telling us they will press and they don't. I get that. And I like, as Cheeto said it there at the end, maybe we will, maybe we won't. We'll see. Like it's early. Let's get to the game planning of the week of and see what happens. But I will say, I think there absolutely should be more reason to believe this idea because of the track record that we've seen from Dennard Wilson, the way that his defenses have operated in the past, the success that he's had with press coverage, the consistency with which, unprompted, he came out of the gates with Tennessee Titans talking about we're going to be aggressive, we're going to be in their face, we're going to press, and then add on top of it the fact that it is clear and obvious, the design, the intelligent design of this roster from a DB standpoint this year has been, let's go get some dogs that can put some receivers in the dirt and not let them get off the line. We're going to press. You don't go and you draft Jarvis Brownlee. You don't go and add L'Jarius Sneed and Chido Awuzie if you're going to be playing a lot of soft zone. Like that's not, you got the wrong dudes for that. If that's your plan, that's a bad plan. So I'm super excited to see these things change. And I get Kenneth wanting to wait and see, but I think you are going to wait and you're going to see.
Yeah, I think I'm right there as well. It'd be a blindside reaction from me if Dennard Wilson comes in here and just does the things that he hasn't preached before. Like there's no way that when he talked about having an aggressive, preaching to his guys to be aggressive on this defense, he talked about it not just on the field, but like as a mindset that you live by, like from a day in and day out, or just whether it be on the field or off the field. And if that guy who is preaching this aggressive mindset that he apparently has for almost everybody in the defensive locker room to not come out and try to play that with the guys he has at his disposal, that would be pretty surprising for me.
I agree. So one last thing, 2 more clips here to share, and then we are out of here on a Thursday afternoon. We spoke to Harold Landry. Honor Landry yesterday was at the podium, and we asked him, hey, and many of you will probably remember this, right before Mike Vrabel was canned, we were speaking in the locker cleanout day with guys, but it was still up in the air whether or not he was going to return. Some of the returning veterans that were cleaning out their locker and Harold Landry and Jeffrey Simmons, we were asking them about what would it be like if Vrabel wasn't around anymore. And Landry in particular was very complimentary of Vrabel, very adamant in saying, I can't imagine a Tennessee Titans team being on a Tennessee Titans team without Mike Vrabel around. He said that, and then Mike Vrabel was canned like 48 hours later. So we asked him yesterday, hey, so how have you adjusted now that that's the reality? He said you couldn't imagine it. You don't have to imagine it. It's here. What do you think?
I'm not really going to compare, I feel like, this year to last year, but, I'll just say that, I feel like the energy right now is at an all-time high, whether that's in meetings or on the field. There's a lot of excitement in the building. with all the new faces. And, like I've been saying too, is I just feel like we have so much talent, and that's what I feel like that excitement is around with what, the potential that we have to do this year out there on the field. But no, I would just say the energy is at an all-time high, and we're just focused on, getting all the details down, you know what I'm saying, and going out there and stacking days.
Very cool to continue to hear from a guy that's not usually like a big rah-rah hype, lean into the narrative kind of guy, to be like, hey, the energy around here is it's at a all-time high. It's sky high. We've noticed that, and to hear it from even a guy like this who I think Harold Landry is the longest tenured Titan at this point.
Yeah, I was going to say it's a shift of perspective, because we did point out to him yesterday, hey, you are now officially the longest tenured Titan on this team. We kind of
unked him a little bit yesterday, didn't we? That was tough.
he has reached unk status on this Tennessee Titans team, which I think if you ask somebody before the season last year, hey, Harold Landry is going to be an unk next year. You'd be like, what?
Yeah. Who? Huh? All right. Last clip here is, sorry. Anything else?
No, I was just going to say, it's cool to see these guys kind of resonate with what we felt as well, both being there and just what we've heard from this team, that the energy is it's good this time of year, which is, I think, is a different kind of feel from what we had last year, right? It's like the energy is always nice during this year, but there are still very many questions about what is going on. And this year, when the energy is supposed to be high, it is. And there really is no downfall. And of course, we're waiting for the shoe to drop, because in the NFL, it always does. But it's nice to see those guys also resonate the same.
Something will go wrong. It is a matter of when, not if. Okay, that's a positive note for us to end on here. Well, here's an actual positive note for us. Actually, I'm going to turn it into gaps. I'm gonna turn it into sort of maybe a negative note, but it's a good quote. It's from Dennard Wilson yesterday, talking about the pass rush and needing to dominate the inside of the offensive line just as much, if not more, than getting sufficient edge pressure.
Well, I think we talk a lot about DBs, but the game is won and lost in the trenches. And the biggest thing is like we talk about edge rush. You really want to dominate the offensive line through the A and B gaps. Because when you dominate the offensive line through the A and B gaps, there's no step-up lane for the quarterback. And if no step-up lanes, and if we go back to the corners being connected at the top of the route with no step-up lane, where is it for the quarterback to throw?
Good answer. Here's the glass half empty. Here's the negative spin. Your A and B gap guys are Jeffrey Simmons and Tavondre Sweat, and they're not out there at practice right now. That's not ideal. Here's the positive spin. Your A and B guys are Jeffrey Simmons and Tavondre Sweat, and those guys are pretty good at playing football. So as long as they're out there playing football when it's time to play some football, that's going to be you're going to be able to do that. That's that again, more intelligent roster design. Those are the dudes that are going to be able to do the thing. And if you're wanting to dominate A B gaps, that you got two dudes that they have a doctorate in that. They are masters of their craft in that department. So that's really all I had to say on that. I think you're going to see a lot of pressure. The edge rushers on this team leave a little bit to be desired in terms of not having a top guy. You don't have your stud dude right now, but you've got some big boy names in the middle that maybe can become a force multiplier for the entire pass rush. Hey, you made it to the end of the video. Thanks for that.
Want more of the latest from the Hot Read Podcast? Subscribe to the channel right below.
And follow us on Twitter, TikTok, and Instagram @HotReadPod for even more segments, clips, and announcements.